Hi friends, welcome one and all to this new class. I hope you are all keeping fine, busy learning more and more and trying to get maximum knowledge. And we are talking about the everyday activities that is taking place in our society. And so we need to be aware about how the different classes of people are working, or how the things that we are using has come to us in this final stage. And so many people have worked behind. For example, the dress that you wear, so many hands have worked behind to reach this final stage of dress. So this nice that we learn, then we will be able to appreciate others, we will be able to value the work of others, and so on. So yesterday we saw the three sectors. We can divide the entire works, or all the works that are done in the society, into three categories. That is primary sector, which are done on the earth, the something that is produced on the earth. Then the secondary sector, or the manufacturing sector, which is some produced in the factory using the things that are produced in the primary sector. And the third group belongs to tertiary sector. Tertiary sector, that is providing service. So there are so many people in the society providing services one or other. Even the newspaper hawker, a person who distributes newspaper, that is a service. A postman is giving a service. So there are so many thousands of services are there in our country, and that is also very important. If those people are not there to provide service, our life would become more and more difficult. Now today, let us see when we calculate the total production in our country. So people are there producing things in the primary sector, and there are other people producing things in the secondary sector, and there are people who are producing giving service, producing service in the tertiary sector. So if you want to calculate the entire production of goods and services in our country, we have to put all these three groups together, and we have to find out what is the total production of goods and services in our country. And that is what we call GDP, gross domestic product. We say GDP. So if there is increase in GDP, that is a sign that our country is growing. That means people are producing more and more things. People are providing more and more services. That means more people are entering into service sector to get job. They are getting job. They are working. So that is a sign of growth in the country. Suppose this GDP is growing downwards, that means the country's economy is going down. The country is becoming poorer and poorer. That is how we find out whether a country is a developed country or not, or whether a country's economy is growing or not. That is how we can calculate. So we know that people produce a lot of things. For example, in the primary sector, in the agriculture sector, people produce a lot of things. So how do you put all these things together? And in the secondary sector, the manufacturing sector, a lot of things are produced. Now how will you put together? How will you calculate? For example, the primary sector, people are producing a lot of paddy, some other people producing a lot of wheat, some other people are producing a lot of pulses, some others are producing fruits, some others are producing growing silkworms, some others are growing buffaloes, cows, chickens, and so on. So how will you put this together and count? How will you calculate GDP? Is it possible that 10 buffaloes or 100 chickens calculate like this number because the value is not same. Buffalo's value and chicken's value, it is not same. So how will you calculate? Or the things that are produced in the industry, in the secondary sector. Vehicles are produced, huge machines are produced, buildings are made. So here also the values are not same. Everything has got different value. Then how are we going to calculate all these things together? And in the secondary sector also, there are different types of services are there. The person who is distributing newspaper, he may get very little money. But a person who is providing service as a doctor, he may be getting very high salary. So different people are getting different salary. So the amount of money that they are earning, the salary that they are getting, they are not equal. So how are we going to calculate all these things together in order to find out the GDP? That is our question today. That is how we are going to find out. So we don't count the number of things that are produced. You follow? People may be producing lot of things. So it is not the number of things that they are produced, but the value of the things are calculated. For example, in the country 1000 bags of rice is produced. Farmers are producing 1000 bags of rice. So we are not just counting 1000 bags of paddy, but we calculate the price. For example, one bag of paddy is, let us say, 500 rupees. One bag of paddy is 500 rupees. So we have to multiply 1000 into 500. So it will become 50,000. So the total value of paddy produced is 50,000. Like that, everything that is produced in the country from the agriculture sector or from the primary sector, they have to find out the value of it, the price of it, then calculate the price. So that is how we calculate the GDP. In the same way, in the secondary sector also, whatever things are produced, we have to find out the value of it. Maybe a small safety pin, what is the price of that? Maybe a huge machines like Cbse and other huge machines or aeroplanes, all these are manufactured. So we have to find out what is the value of these things. So that value also will be added to this. All the things that are produced. And also the service sector. What is the money that they are earning in the service sector by working? That also will be added here. So all the things all the price of the things that are produced or the services that are produced, the price of those things are calculated and put together, and we will find this is the total production of goods and services in our country, and that is the GDP. Understood? Gross domestic product. So all the gross means all. The total domestic production. Domestic means within the country. What are the things that are produced in the whole country? That is put together, calculated together. The price of the things are put together and calculated, and that becomes the GDP. And now you may think, how can we go and find out everywhere what are the things produced? Some people may be just producing little vegetables, maybe little mustard leaf, or maybe little mutton, or maybe little cabbage. How are they calculating all these things? So it is not an easy thing, as you know, because India is such a vast country, and all the people who produce, they are not going and reporting to the government. Okay, this year I have produced this much mustard leaf, or this much cabbage, or this much fruits I produced. They are not going to report. So there is a ministry in the central government with regard to finding out or calculating the economic growth. So it is the responsibility of that ministry to get the support of different local governments, the state governments, the district governments, the panchayat level. So everywhere the people are involved. They are supposed to collect the details of the things that are produced, maybe in the farm or maybe in the factory or maybe people who are employed. So everyone is supposed to give report to this ministry that is working in the economic development of our country, that is connected with economic development. So it is their responsibility. It may not be 100% accurate because most of the people may not be reporting to the government. So, but the local government at the panchayat level or at the Zilla Parishad level, they are supposed to collect it, and the central minister is supposed to organize all these things throughout the country and get the total goods that are produced, the services that are produced, and they need to supposed to give the accurate data in order to find out what is the total growth of our country, whether our country is growing forward or not, or whether our economy is stagnant or not, is it developing or is it going downwards, and so on. They have to find out. Now, when we calculate this GDP, we need to keep in mind that the price of the final goods are calculated, not at the initial stage. The price of the final goods. For example, certain things that are produced in the agriculture sector or the primary sector, it may go through different stages. For example, let's say the example of making biscuits. So you know what are the things used for making biscuits. We need wheat flour, we need sugar, we need milk, those things, certain nuts and so on. So the farmer who is producing the wheat, he has to, we can say, for example, the wheat that is produced 10 kg, and the price of 1 kg wheat is, let us say, 30 rupees. So he is going and selling this wheat to the mill owner. You take this wheat and give me the money, 30 rupees per kg. So he gives 10 kg for 300 rupees. So then this mill owner will powder it, make it powder, and then he increases the price. Now he bought it for 30 rupees per kg. Now after he did some more work, he made it powder. So he cannot sell it again by the same price, by 30 rupees, because he will be losing it. So he will increase the price. Let us say after making it powder, he may make it 35 rupees. Then he will go and sell it to the factory where the wheat flour is needed. Maybe let us say the factory which is making biscuits. So he will go and sell it to the biscuit factory per kg 35 rupees. So he will be getting 5 rupees profit. He cannot say exactly profit because he has to spend money for the electricity, for powdering the wheat, and for the machine maintenance, all that. So he will be getting little profit. Then the biscuit factory, they will buy this one and they will use it for making biscuits. So they will be using some other things as well. They will be buying some more sugar, they will be buying some more nuts and mix together, and they will make biscuits, and they'll say they will sell the biscuit, one packet 50 rupees. So the price, actually the original price of the wheat is only 30 rupees. After powdering, it became 35 rupees. And after making biscuit, it became 50 rupees. So the shopkeeper, the factory that has made the biscuit, that is called final product. So he will pack it nicely and reach to the market, and it is reaching the shop and people can buy and eat. So that is the final product. So those things that are made, the final value of that thing is calculated. Understood? So when we calculate GDP, we said we calculate the price of all the things that are produced, the goods as well as the service, and we calculate the value of it, and then we calculate the GDP. So here in this case, we said only the value of the final goods will be taken for GDP. So here the final goods is the biscuit. So the farmer had sold the wheat and for 30 rupees, so he got 300 rupees. So that is not counted for GDP. And the mill owner was selling it at 10 kg by 35 rupees, that means he got 350 rupees, 350 rupees, and that is not counted because that is not the final product. It is used for something else again. So it is gone to the biscuit factory, and there he will sell it by, let us say, with 10 kg we can make a lot of biscuits. Let us say maybe he makes 100 packets. So 100 into 50, it will become 5,000. So this is the final value of the things. So when we calculate GDP, these things will be, this price will be calculated. Not the price of this one, not the price of this one. So when it reaches the final stage, suppose the farmer was producing this wheat and he is using for eating for himself. He is cooking and eating by himself. He is not selling to anybody. Then that is the final stage. Then that price will be calculated. Suppose he sold it to the mill owner and the mill owner is powdering and he is cooking and eating that wheat powder. Then that is the final value. Beyond that, it is no more going, it is no more use. So, wherever it is the final stage of the usefulness or use, then that price, how much is the price of that one, that will be calculated. I hope you understood how to calculate the GDP. So, I will repeat once again. So, the price of the goods that are produced and also the services that are produced, it will be calculated. And not in the beginning stage, but at the final stage, where a thing can go at maximum. That will be the stage used for the price of that stage will be calculated. In the case of biscuits, to reach that final stage of biscuit, so we after making biscuit we eat it. Beyond that, biscuit has no other purpose. It cannot go any more further, isn't it? So the wheat flour, that is not the final stage. He is selling it to the mill owner. Mill owner is powdering it and selling it to the biscuit factory. And biscuit factory is making use of for making it biscuit. So that is the final stage. Beyond after making biscuit, he cannot do anything more with that. Cannot make anything else with the biscuit. Suppose if he is using biscuit for making something else, then price of that final product will be calculated. All these will not be included. Understood? So that is how the GDP is calculated in our country. If more goods are produced, then the price will be high and we can say the GDP is growing. If the goods are not produced, the farmers are not cultivating, if in the industry there is no job, if there is no service, then the value will come down and the total GDP will be very low, and that will be a sign that our economy is not growing. So that it will be really a pathetic situation for us. So that is a real situation, how to calculate, how to find out this GDP in our country. So very often we can see in the news and so on, the GDP of our country is going down and down. And some of our neighboring countries who are very small in size, like Bangladesh, Sri Lanka and so on, they have got higher GDP than we Indians. Because India is such a big country, still the GDP level is very low. That is indication that our economy is not growing. Our economy is growing downwards. People have lost their job, people are not able to cultivate, and they are not able to produce anything and so on. So because of different policies of the government, we can say that farmers are not encouraged to cultivate. Now we know in Delhi, farmers are protesting because of the government policies are not fitting for them, not suitable for them. They feel that it will be against them, therefore they are protesting. So they are not cultivating. or they are saying we may even destroy the crops that they have already cultivated. So then such a dire need to get the support of the government to improve their cultivation and so on. So government need to do something in order to improve the GDP of a country. So because that shows the growth development. When we want to go forward, not go downwards. So to improve the cultivation, to improve the goods production, all that we need the support of the government. It all depends on what policy the government makes. Suppose the government makes a very fraud policy or a bad policy, then it is not going to help the members of our country. They will be struggling and they may even give up the production of agricultural production or other industrial production, or some may even stop doing any service. So as a result, it will affect the growth of the country, the economy of the country and so on. So keep in mind that this calculation of GDP, so all the three sectors, the final products are put together and calculating how much things are they produce and the value of the things are total together, and that becomes the GDP. So we shall wind up today. I hope you understood nicely about the GDP, how GDP of a country is calculated and how it indicates the development or the progress of a country or country's economy. So we can calculate even in your own area how much vegetables are they producing, how much what vegetables are they producing, or how many people have got job, or how many industry units are there, how many things are they producing, all that. So if many people are involved in the business of production, whether agriculture production or industrial production or service production, then we can say the more people are having employment or job, the better they become financially. Their situation, economic situation improves. So it is same throughout our country. If all the people in our country are able to find out some job for them, then they are economically better. They are improving better. But if a person is losing his job, then that family will be down, economically down, and they will be struggling, and that will affect that family. Same way, because of this lockdown and other corona problems, so many people have lost their job, and as a result, the economy of our country is coming down. So hope it will improve, it will pick up soon, and it will come up to the level of other countries or even overtake other countries. And most essential thing is the government should make proper policies in order to support the people in all the sectors. People working in all the sectors, they need proper guidance, proper support from the government, and then we will see the economy is coming back again. So thank you for listening. Have a nice day.